you?
I am wonderful, thank you. I'm glad to see you in this January.
A little bit of background. So Ginger was a client last year, and we really worked on revamping her website, her brand presence, getting a real structure, I think, around that and an identity, and how can she better represent her story on a digital platform. First of all, you have such an amazing story. So I'd love to just have, a little bit of introduction on who you are and then about your business. I love the story of your business and how that came to be.
I've had my business for a very long time. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to age myself, but this March I have owned Ginger Howard Company for 30 years.
Wow.
Yes, 30 years. I started in my early 20s and I'm about to celebrate 30 years of my business. So I'm very thankful for that. And
Wow.
it has morphed into lots of things. I started off as a buying office. I bought for stores all over the Southeast. That's why I came to Then I started a home show business and I did trunk shows out of people's homes. I took clothes into people's homes. And then in March of 2001, I opened Ginger Howard Selections, which was a storefront in Buckhead. And then I was there for 20 years. And 2 years ago, COVID happened and it just was a nightmare. And Buckhead was kind of getting dangerous on that street. Long story short, I was going to close my store, but after much prayer and everything, I decided to do a whole different story, a whole different revamp. So I still do have a storefront, but my hours are less, and I wanted to have more of a website.
The other things that Ginger did that I find so inspiring, because as small business owners, we're always doing in this process of evolution with our businesses, is that COVID was a real opportunity. She took it as an opportunity to really pivot her business and her strategy and go from such an in-person presence to how do I take that retail front and that physical location and represent it digitally. And I think you really took that seriously.
That's where Sarah came in to help me rebrand because I was really kind of starting over. And she knows my favorite color's pink and she knows my story. And she just helped me weave all of those fun things together to make it more of a cohesive story.
Creating clear guidelines around her style that is such a personal. What I love about your brand is it's so personal to you. It's so much embodying your personality. And since I have known you for a long time, it was really fun to get to showcase that, capture that image and that personality, but then allow you the freedom to pass it on to other people, because you, as your business has grown, you also have other things that you're doing. And so to take some of that pressure off of you, now we have these guidelines, we've encapsulated this personality, and I can really hand it off to employees.
Yes, and I think and everybody that works for me, I also streamlined my employees. Everybody that works for me, most of the people have been with me forever. They know me too. They know how I think. They know, so they would say, "This is what Ginger would this," and they've learned too. But they have their own personalities, which is great because we're not all the same. We're not cookie cutters, and we're all different. We're different body types. We're different. We have different philosophies on things, but they all know my core values and they respect and appreciate that. And they also will give that to the customer.
So revamped your Shopify platform, doing I did creative direction for that. We did some new photo shoots, and I worked with the photographer to really encapsulate what is the purpose of this, how are we trying to represent Ginger, and
zeroed in that I'm building my brand, and that has been very helpful. And also finding other people like me. Like I have a precious friend that now she has her own business, but she does reels for me every Thursday. And she is a lot like me, but she's like a little mini, so it's kind of fun to kind of replicate and kind of help other people with their businesses. So
that was also a big focus that we realized in sort of thinking about this pivot, is that your content, and that was something you needed to invest in and have that continually updated. We worked with an amazing photographer, Melissa
yes,
Hayes.
it's great. I'm still using her.
and who I worked really closely with. And we had a lot of conversations about how are we representing the brand and how can we create a consistent style that's still interesting and mixes it up, but really captures Ginger's personality. And it's been so awesome working with her too, to really own in on that creatively.
And you helped me realize that I was kind of here, there, and everywhere. But now that I've zeroed in that I'm building my brand and that is me.
I also know that you've had amazing results from this. So can you just talk a little bit about that?
I cannot say enough about how it totally transformed my business. It took it to a whole new level. And I had been online for about, I don't know, since 2008, and I had a website, and it was, I had a few customers here and there. But once we did that and we launched it, and went on Instagram, and we did the Klaviyo, the emails, it was like overnight. But now it's just more and more and more and more and more. I doubled my sales on my website in 1 year. Once we did all that in 1 year. That's after all these years of having that. That's a miracle.
So how has your kind of conception of what branding is changed since we started this process?
Well, that's a great question, Sarah. And I think you kind of helped me realize that I am my brand. And I didn't, people had told me that before, and they said, Ginger, it really matters when you're in the store. They want you. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. But you really helped me zero in, saying, Ginger, you need to tell your story more. You need to be the picture of your brand. You need to be doing that. And since I have done that, my website has taken off. My Instagram followers have quadrupled since I had my old store, because I realized I am my brand. Ginger Howard is the brand. They want to know the story. They want to see me all
And
dressed up. They
one of the
also want
reasons
to.
I started my business is to work with people like you and really bring their stories and highlight their stories. And I think that's a great way to encapsulate it. And one of the other things that I always tell my clients is part of my job in branding is to really in making sort of a strategic framework for businesses and business decisions is to also take some of that pressure off of you as a founder. Thank you so much, Ginger, for doing this.
Oh, I'm so happy to do this. You're wonderful. I want everybody to know how wonderful you are. It's so fun to see Sarah having her own business and coming into her own style, and she's always had that.